Gautam Buddha had a disciple whose name was Chakshupal. Chakshu means eyes, but Chakshupal was blind. Once, Chakshupal went to Jetwan with the desire to see Buddha, and after paying obeisance to Gautam Buddha, he stayed in the hermitage. One night, Chakshupal was walking outside his room in the hermitage. He was engrossed in walking meditation. While walking, some ants were crushed under his feet. Since Chakshupal was blind, therefore he could not see those ants walking on the ground. The next morning, when the other disciples of the monastery passed from there and saw the ants dead in the front of Chakshupal's room, they started criticizing Chakshupal for doing bad karma. They went to Buddha to complain about Chakshupal. After listening to the complaint of the disciples, Buddha asked them, "Did you see Chakshupal crushing ants with your own eyes?" All the disciples refused that they had not seen anything with their own eyes, but all the ants were laying dead in front of Chakshupal's room. That's why Chakshupal must have done it. Then Buddha said that, as they did not see Chakshupal crushing ants with their own eyes, similarly, Chakshupal had not seen those ants walking on the ground, because he is blind. That's why Chakshupal is not guilty of this sin. Then Buddha told the disciples that Chakshupal has attained enlightenment. Therefore, Chakshupal cannot do anything with the feeling of violence towards any living being. Then Buddha's disciples asked him that if Chakshupal is enlightened, then because of what sin is he blind? Then Buddha told them the story of a previous birth of Chakshupal. And the story goes like this. In the previous birth of Chakshupal, he was a physician. He used to treat people with herbal medicines. He was a very skilled physician. People used to get cured very quickly after taking his medicines. One day, a woman came to him to get his eyes treated. The woman had lost her sight due to some disease in her eyes. She had completely given up hope of recovering her eyes. When she went to Chakshupal, she promised him that if her eyes were completely cured and she was able to see again, then she would become his slave for the rest of her life along with her children. Chakshupal gave her ointment to apply in her eyes, and gradually the eyes of that woman started getting cured. She started seeing with her eyes. Then she thought that by applying ointment for few days, her eyes were cured so much. Then if she used the medicine for few more days, then her eyes will become perfect and disease will not come back again. But she was scared that now, as per her promise, she will have to remain a slave of Chakshupal for the rest of her life. And out of that fear, she lied to Chakshupal that her eyes were not getting cured, and she needed more medicine to cure her eyes. But Chakshupal was very clever. He knew that his medicine cannot fail to cure the eyes of any person. He understood that the woman does not want to keep on her promise of becoming his slave for lifetime, and that's why she is pretending not to be cured. So, out of malice, he gave her such a ointment due to which she became blind for her whole life. And because of this bad karma, Chakshupal had to be blind in this birth. After telling the story, the Buddha said to his disciples, "My pupils, all the tendencies of a human being are born from the mind. If any person does something with bad intention in his mind, then he will definitely get the result of his bad deed in the form of sorrow. And if he will keep doing such bad karma, then sorrow will never leave him, but will always keep following him, just like in a bullock cart, wheel follow bullock. And if a person does good deeds with good intentions in his mind, then happiness follows him like the wheels of a bullock cart follow the bullock. After listening to this story, all the disciples came to know about the law of karma, and many of them became enlightened after listening to Buddha's sermon that day. If we see in our lives, then we will find that karma always has its fruit, whether it is good or bad. This is law of karma, that what you sow, so will you reap. If you do good deeds, you will get happiness, and if you will do bad deeds, you will get sorrow. Our intention behind any karma is very important, because it is our intention that makes any action good or bad. For example, a robber stabs a person with a knife because his motive is to rob that person. And on the other hand, a doctor operates on a patient with a knife. He also cuts his body with knife, but his intention behind it is to save patient's life. Both of them use knife to cut the body, but their intentions were different, due to which one's deed became bad karma and other's deed became good karma. Therefore, our intention behind any karma is very important. We should always act with a good intention in our mind. Also, if a wrong deed is done unknowingly without any bad intention, then it is not a sin. Like in this story, Chakshupal unknowingly crushed the ants under his foot. That was not his sin, because he did not do this with any bad intention. We all have done good and bad deeds in our life. We all have made mistakes too. But what is important is our intention. If your mind is pure, then even a mistake is forgiven. But if your mind is not pure, then you will have to bear its fruit. Before doing any karma, there is freedom. But once you have done it, you are bound to reap its fruit. And then you can't do anything to change it. That's why you always have to be careful before doing any karma, because good or bad, what you put out comes back to you.